All right, let's start it, Dana. It's Superfly, as we all know. Everyone's excited about, obviously, all the
Riveted,
time.
setting their clocks. It's a unique.
Yeah.
It's unique. It's a unique Superfly. I'm just going to say that up front. It's not a tease. We're going to do
No.
something a little different, David.
Yes. Oh, David. Well, we, back during the pandemic, we were all glued to the Tiger King. I was also, and
hmm
Joe Exotic, who had a lot of funny catchphrases and funny things going on. A very interesting situation down there. And the zoo is a loose word,
I guess it
but
was a zoo. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if it was a zoo. Yeah, and all his cast of characters. It was like a movie, and they were always saying you should do a movie about that, and it's almost so exaggerated. It's hard to make a movie, right?
But who was floated? Who was floated that we know
Oh yeah.
to play Joe Exotic in the Tiger King movie?
Oh, that's right. Spadely. Yeah, and that's not I mean, I don't know what it was.
Well, maybe it's because of Joe Dirt.
Maybe because of Joe Dirt. I kind of look like this guy, and but he was very funny, very so I go by the funny part, and we never talked about, but I never really pursued it because it was one of those lightning in a bottle shows, and then time goes on, and by the time something would come out, it probably wouldn't have been as exciting. But now he's in prison, and go ahead, Dana.
For apparently hiring someone to murder his nemesis, Carole Baskin, who was sort of an animal rights activist in the area and wanted to shut down Joe's zoo because she thought he was cruel to the tigers.
And he thought she was cruel also, and also killed her husband, he says. Allegedly, right?
Right. So it was redneck heaven. It was in Oklahoma, and everyone's got a body buried. Everyone's got a bottle of booze in their back pocket, and there's wild tigers running around. It was mesmerizing.
Sure. And you don't want to look too closely at anything. Like you go into anyone's yard and you start digging, you're going to find something. So on the surface, it seemed like a fun, goofy show to talk about. And then when you dig a little deeper, it gets a little
twisted.
Yeah.
I read that he shot 5 tigers, and I don't like shooting tigers.
Sure. I think we can all say we're safely against that.
Yeah.
And so we've got him. He's in jail, and he's going to call in. It's like a radio show. We got a caller.
We got a call. And, we will not be able to see Joe, but we're going to hear his voice.
I bet we put up a picture of him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do, right?
Imagine him talking. Hopefully we'll ask the questions you want us to ask.
We probably won't, but we're going to hopefully.
Yeah. I did 7 seconds of research, so I'm locked and loaded.
No, I know. We all know about him.
We all know the basics.
The more I read,
Yeah.
We know this. But we're sort of playing for the big strokes of what people know. And speaking of big strokes, I had a big night last night.
What do you mean?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
it just sounded like a good setup.
Well, if we have a few moments, it was interesting that the astronauts got rescued on SpaceX.
Yeah.
After Boeing Starliner had some issues and couldn't bring them back. They were going to be there for 8 days, and they were there for 10 months. And there are side effects.
Oh yeah, I have a question about this, Dana. I'm glad you brought it up. And I know everyone's supposed to hate Elon Musk, but he did do a good thing yesterday. I guess.
Well, what's this Elon Musk stuff? I mean, come on, calm down a little bit. Compartmentalize it. If you don't like Doge, go after that. But SpaceX is, an amazing achievement for a private company. I mean, they totally dominated our friend Jeff Bezos because he really said to NASA, I'm going to give you $1 billion. I'll do anything you want. They looked at both spacecraft, and the one that Bill Shatner went on didn't quite make the grade.
What about when it lands and they have like those chopsticks? Just grab it when it lands on SpaceX. It's almost impossible.
Yes.
It goes, I gotcha.
Yes, and that's pretty cool. To be able to reuse it instead of throwing it in the ocean brings the cost way down. So that again was a revolutionary feat of engineering. And I don't think people know this. I'm just going by the facts. I don't want to get any letters.
No.
Mark Andreessen is a big Silicon Valley investor in tech for decades. I know him casually. He explained that Elon is first and foremost an engineer. So if there's a problem with SpaceX or Tesla or whatever, he goes and sits in a room with the engineers for 12 hours.
I like that.
And that's why he can attract such great other engineers, because he speaks their language. There's no barrier. A CEO, I'm going to go golf and make a spaceship. He's actually in there. So I think if anyone is kind of considered a genius, he has to be. You can hate a genius, but at least acknowledge that SpaceX is a revolution. And Starlink, why I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah. Also, here's one part about the landing that I read about today that was interesting, is that a former astronaut said that they don't make money while they're up there, even though it's supposed to be for 9 days. So they probably made an extra 1,200 or something
for 10 months.
Yeah, because they get paid a travel allowance on those days. So this sounds like a joke because it sounds funny, but I want to get to the bottom of what they got paid, because that wasn't part of the plan. So this astronaut said that happened to them, and they got $4 a day. They usually get about $4 a day as an astronaut.
That's just bad management. If you sign a contract, you should have
bad agent.
You should have a stranded. Say again.
To accept this call, press 5.
Uh-oh. And now a word from our sponsors at Betterment. When investing your money starts to feel like a second job, Betterment steps in with a little work-life balance. They're an automated investing and savings app, which means they do the work. While they build and manage your portfolio, you build and manage your weekend plans. While they make it easy to invest for what matters, you get to enjoy what matters.
Their automated tools simplify the complex and put your money to work, optimizing day after day and again and again. So go ahead, take your time to rest and recharge, because while your money doesn't need a work-life balance, you do. Make your money hustle with Betterment. Get started at betterment.com.
That's BETTERMENT.com. Investing involves risk, performance not guaranteed.
Hey, Greg.
You're on with Dave and Dana.
Joe, come in. Joe, are you on the space station? Are you out?
I know, it sounds like he's on SpaceX.
Joe, what's today like? What did you have for breakfast? Let's just start. How are you feeling?
Yeah.
I've never been in prison, and I've never been in prison for, I guess, 7 years. And I know you want to get out, but how have you changed just being in prison all these years? What's it like?
You know what? I wouldn't believe it if I wouldn't have had to come live this. I really wouldn't. It's crazy. If the general taxpayer knew what was going on in here, they would either close it all down or cut something. They'd have to cut something. This is really there's no fiction. I mean, if I'd have done something wrong, there's no fiction what I'd done wrong, because this is all about drugs and alcohol and bullshit in here.
In prison it is. Is that what you're saying?
Pardon? Yeah. It's crazy. If they think they're going to win the war on drugs out there, they need to start by trying to win the war on drugs in here.
Are drugs run on the outside from the inside?
Yes.
Ooh,
okay, and what are the names and addresses of the guards who let the drugs come in?
No, the names are the bad guys too.
There are people who just want to stay in prison, right? Because they get drugs, three meals, and then they get to go run around and lift weights. Is that some people kind of like prison because of this?
A lot of them are what do you call it?
Lifers.
Conform to this lifestyle. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's sort of a structured life that is, when you get on the outside, that's why there's a lot of mental instability out in the real world more and more every day, because it's just so hard to function in a regular society. But there you got walls, you got meals, you got rules, and I guess you got drugs.
And Mike Tyson said he had a blast in prison. So
it's a little different than what you would picture. At least the prison that I'm in, because the prison that I'm in, there's no doors, there's no bars. It's open dorm, like a college, you know.
Mm.
I like that floor plan.
You have movement every hour, you know. For 10 minutes, you can go from place to place, you know, whether it's library or rec or chow hall or whatever. But it's pretty insane. The amount of drugs, you know. I made it 55 years without seeing heroin, K2, fentanyl, or Saboskin until I came to federal prison.
Were you tempted to get back on, or were you ever on drugs and got off? I don't remember.
You know, that's the thing that I finally saw Tiger King for the first time about 4 months ago.
Oh, really?
You did?
Oh, it was a great show. I mean, it was riveting, right?
I was pretty disgusted with it to start with, because I was like, they made me out to be this big meth head, and I'm the only one on the show with teeth wearing clothes, you know?
That's a good point.
That's kind of like the show that Kate McKinnon made that was Joe versus Carole. Did you watch that?
Yeah, I was aware of it. I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Was it more accurate or what, from your point of view?
No, I mean, they made me out to be a whole lot more gayer than I am, you know?
So you're
a whole lot more
you're
gayer.
gay, but they made you super gay.
Yeah.
If they wanted to make money, they would have casted David to play me, because that guy that played me went way over the top, man.
Listen, I can do super gay. Just give me some notes.
It was, you know, before they actually came out with that, they were going to cast Nicolas Cage, and I was like, no, Nicolas Cage is too dry. I said, come on. I said, you want to have a real show, you got to cast David Spade to play Joe Dirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How about this? Here's my audition. Fuck you, Carole Baskin, you bitch.
I say you got it. I say we got a Joe Exotic. We have to make a third movie. We'll
at least a callback.
Literally have that down. So, you know, I have 3 movie offers right now, and you know, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to make it out of here either with a pardon or on appeal this year, one or the other. So yeah, when we do this new show, we have got to team up. It'll be a classic.
Ah, shit. Yeah. You have more movies than me and Dana do, and you're in jail. You've got 3 going.
There you go. Yeah. What an agent you
who's your agent? What about, you can't ask Trump, but did some of your team, or was that someone else not involved with you asking for a pardon?
Federal prison.
I can't ask Trump what?
Oh, for a pardon, or did some other people try to sort of help with that?
Well, you know, my people are allowed to record phone calls, so I've made some pleas myself, you know, and then Jerry Jones's lawyer, the owner of the Cowboys, has done a press conference and made a plea to him. I've got an active clemency application, you know, in the White House now. And then the good thing is, Enrique, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but he's pretty cool. He's the leader of the Proud Boys. He's gonna be in Mar-a-Lago Saturday, and he's going to talk to him about a pardon.
Okay, that sounds like a Saturday Night Live sketch about Trump.
What did you? By the way, who was the last person? We talked to some people from Tiger King. I did before. I couldn't get to you, but when I was on my old show, Lights Out, and when was the last person to see you? Did anyone come in to visit you, or do you still stay in touch? You know
what's crazy is the only person that has even checked on me was John Rinke, the guy with no legs, the old manager.
Mm-hmm.
He checks on me pretty regularly, but other than that, nobody has even concerned themselves whether I'm dead or alive.
If Carole Baskin came to visit you and you were across the glass, what do you think that conversation would go like?
If Carole had a conversation?
Yeah, she came to visit you in prison, and you two were talking, what would it be like? Weird or?
The crazy part is me and Carole really didn't have that bad of a war going on. It was just she made money convincing people that I was an abuser because I abused baby tigers because I took them away from their mom, and I made money on my podcast, I guess you'd call it. It was actually just an online television show back then on joeexotictv.com. I made money because it was easy to make fun of her because she was just batshit crazy. And I know she killed her husband, but that's where our war started, was when I started investigating Don Lewis's disappearance. And I kind of went to shit from there. But, I could actually look Carole in the face, right to this day, and the conversation would have to be like, you might have put me in prison, but you didn't put me in a cage because I've never been in an actual jail cell. But she threw me in prison. There's 1,400 dudes in here. It's not that bad.
Well, if I go to prison, I'm going to find out how to do that. If you could go back like 7 or 8, 9 years, what would you have done different? Do you have any regrets of thinking of how you would have handled the whole situation?
I'd have never have let Jeff Lowe in my life.
Okay. He was toxic to you, or what was the problem?
Well, Jeff Lowe is the scammer. He conned his way into my zoo, claiming that he was this millionaire, had all this money. Come to find out, after he got his name on half the property, he was supposed to invest $300,000. Kelly was behind on his car payments. He didn't have anywhere to live, And then what has he got? He's pretty much selling his wife on OnlyFans to make a living now.
Oof. It's like a bad episode of Magnum PI.
Yeah, it's crazy. But,
So you and Carole were sort of more like wrestling at the beginning. Like, it was sort of an exaggerated version, like enemies, but you're just hyping it up for the show. And then it took a turn when it always takes a turn for the worse if somebody gets killed. And then you mentioned that, and then it ups the stakes. And now now she's really out for revenge. That's kind of it.
Yeah, since the show came out, since I've been arrested, she's gotten on TMZ.
This call is from a federal prison.
Oh, shit. I think I saw on Kelly Clarkson. She gets out there. You're right.
She got out there, and she actually rooted for a pardon for me a couple years ago. And then about 5 months ago, she put on her YouTube channel 2 videos of her right-hand girl and Alan Glover, the hitman, talking on a telephone, and where Alan admitted that he lied about it all. So she's actually put evidence out there that's on my appeal right now that actually helps prove I'm innocent. So
why did the hitman lie?
Well, he worked for Jeff for so many years, and I think Jeff has some pretty good dirt on him because he'd done all of Jeff's dirty work. And Jeff wanted my zoo so bad that I think he blackmailed Alan. According to the affidavits and the video deposition we have of Alan now, Jeff pretty much blackmailed him into doing this so Jeff could get the zoo.
So, what are you?
Tangled web.
Now, it said that you euthanized, I guess would be a kinder word, 5 tigers, but it was considered made Carole really mad, or what was that situation?
Okay, I euthanized 5 tigers, and where the jury didn't never get to hear and explain anything was, I was licensed by the United States Department of Agriculture, and that's who allows you to have a zoo, and they're the ones who help you write your protocols, they're the ones who approve your protocols, they're the ones who approve everything you do. And my USDA inspector kept saying, Joe, you have 260 tigers. Why are you keeping these 5 alive? Because they're so old and they're crippled and they're in pain. So we came to the conclusion that we needed to go ahead and put them to sleep. There was 2 ways in the protocol to put them to sleep: by gunshot or as long as it was done instantaneously, okay, or by injection of a vet euthanize them by injection. Well, in order to have the vet euthanize them by injection, you have to tranquilize them first so she can walk in a cage without getting killed. All right? So that takes about 45 minutes, and you have to keep tranquilizing them over and over and over, and they have seizures, and they have all kinds of throwing up and everything else. So the vet just figured out that, you know what, let's just put them down with the gunshot and have it done in a half a second. So that's what we did. And we buried him. Okay, well, the inspector that told us to do that couldn't be found to subpoena her for my trial. So the jury never got to hear her, okay?
I see.
So they didn't charge me with animal abuse or cruelty to animals or anything else. They charged me with taking 5 endangered species without a permit, because it wasn't the USDA who prosecuted me. It was a federal game warden that was working for Carole that arrested me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like
you bitch.
They charged me with going hunting without a permit, basically.
Damn. Was there a plea deal at any point for less time and so forth and so on? Never a plea deal. So it was either straight guilt or innocence, and then they sentenced you to 21 years.
Oof.
Yeah.
Now, with good behavior, I've already done 7. Would you reasonably be out anyway in a couple of years, or?
If I have to do all of this, I'll be out September of 2030.
I see. So
behavior.
4 plus years or 5 years. Yeah. I see. Okay.
This phone beeped and it's gonna hang up any second. So
okay.
I've wanted for years to be able to talk to you, David. It's just you're that big of an inspiration from your movie you made, and this made my whole.
Oh, right in the middle of his Oscar speech. God damn it!
Well, it's obviously you sound just like him, so he was enamored with you to play him in the movie. So it's very interesting, and he just really wanted to meet you. I think you're his favorite comedian.
Well, I heard a lot back then about him, and when it was going on, but there was nothing anyone could do about it. But I do think his story is very interesting. The more we hear about it, because it does sound like he was hyping it up a little bit before, and then it got very dark very fast. And I don't know what to make of it. He just on the surface, he seems like a cool dude to like.
Well, it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. So the idea was they had to prove. They had to prove that he hired the hitman. I'd have to really look at the proof of that, because that was the linchpin, I think, for that. The euthanizing the tigers wouldn't have been 7 years, but a hire for murder of Carole Baskin because he believes she murdered her husband. So he was a vigilante at that point, kind of, or was he doing it? I mean, so in other words, that's the linchpin of the case. I'd have to look into it. I'm not an attorney, but
can you rep him?
Well, I wanted to announce it today that Joe Exotic has hired me to represent him in a court of law, and we'll be doing.
I didn't get to ask him. Did he gain weight? Did he lose weight? Some people go to prison. Most people get very skinny. He was very skinny anyway. Some people shockingly gain weight. And then you think, well, that might make sense because the food's so horrible.
It sounds like he says like a college dorm, and you walk around a lot. They probably are fed well. I think it's your own choice. But I have heard that, drugs are rampant in prison, and a lot of people want to stay in there. Anyway, I don't know enough about the case, but he got convicted in a court of law. Now he's in prison. But we'll see. Yeah,
it's very interesting. We'll see in the YouTube comments. We'll talk more about it next week, because we'll hear their questions and see, we can make from it what you can make from it. We asked some good questions.
Yeah, I talked about the killing of the tigers and, the
Carole Baskin. I thought him and Carole, it sounded like an awkward Tinder date at the beginning. You're like, what if you guys got to sit across from each other?
Yeah, what would you say?
But that's a good one. And also, he actually was friendlier about her than I would think, because after all this?
Whatever happened, he wasn't doing, you do the impression but with a B word.
Dana Carvey, you bitch.
Carole
That's all I can do.
Baskin.
If he comes out and does a dating show, or he and Carole Baskin live together, like, you know,
Well,
the
I was
real
going to
world.
pitch him Joe Exotic, naked and afraid. He's in this enclosure. It's like 3 miles across, like, you know, some kind of, there's tigers in there. And can he survive with no weapons or anything, just with his intellect? Can he
it's a
become the
12-minute
Tiger
show.
King?
And he gets killed
It's
immediately.
it's just we could shoot a pilot in the prison.
Okay, we'll do a sizzle. What about? I do like all the pitches though.
I just want to talk like that. You a
Now,
bitch.
Carole Baskin, she came in here. I can't remember the funniness of the show, but I remember everyone was into it. The whole goddamn country was into it.
Well, it was
And
just
it's good for follow-up.
redneck
Didn't
heaven.
really
Yeah, we just wanted to follow it up. We didn't want to, take sides in any way. I was just curious, So we let our viewers decide.
Yeah, he didn't. We let YouTube comments decide. But he didn't really sound like it was the most horrible place in the world. He had a good attitude about that.
You can walk every hour. I guess there's you probably lift weights in the yard. I just know from the movies and stuff like that. But it sounds like a low security or a minimum security prison. It's not like Rikers Island.
I wonder if there was any other famous people in there, that do like these mid-level crimes, so they don't really go to the hard prisons and they get sort of scamper
I think
around.
P. Diddy and Harvey Weinstein and others are kind of together at
What about
Rikers Island.
Sam Bankman, that clown?
Yeah, they're
Is he
all in
there?
Rikers Island having lunch together. How you doing, Sam?
Jesus,
What's
yeah.
up, P?
It's always like, there's some pretty cool people in here. And then you're like, well, those guys aren't cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so early, Dana.
I know. You saw our producer's question.
Like a pound puppy. All right, what else can we talk about, Dana? We got a lot to cover. We're going to switch gears here.
I was just going to say something about the astronauts until we are interrupted by.
I was saying they don't make that much up there, but we're going to find out about that.
Well, I say they should have a stranded addendum to their contract. Stranded.
Yeah.
And
They
then
will get it now.
They'll get $250,000 a month each for every month, because what happens is, without zero gravity that long, I'm not saying specifically their case, and I hope they end up fantastic. You get baby feet because there's no push off with gravity. So your feet turn into little rolled up soft baby feet. Your heart gets smaller, and I'm hoping that they can build that back up. You grow 2 to 3 inches taller.
That much?
That long in space, because your spine is never
Sign me up.
compressed. You'd come out 6'2".
Let's go.
6'2", smiling.
I'll cancel my trip to Turkey where I saw my legs off and had 4.
That whole thing. You know what? I say a good pair of boots and confidence is all anybody needs.
No way.
Good pair.
It's not doing enough.
Good pair of boots.
No, I don't even wear boots. That's what I should do.
We'll talk.
Sitting like this.
We'll talk later.
But those astronauts, I heard you get taller, but these are other things I didn't know. I didn't know about the baby feet.
Baby feet, heart gets a little smaller, but they, another 6 months. I mean, it is good that Elon got up there. Now, here's, again, you guys can put your comments in. So Elon Musk says that he was ready to rescue them earlier, but it was completely the Biden administration that sort of stopped that from happening. I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard. So that's kind of interesting.
Oh, really? Let's cut to the comments.
Give us comments.
We'll read some next week. We don't read enough on the air, but we'll read some. I read them. And they're usually pretty nice, I said. They're usually pretty good. And then there's a couple get in there. Sometimes they're just attention seekers.
Well, you're going to get, I don't think anyone has ever gotten a 5-star consistently.
No.
On a podcast, because there's going to be some zeros in there. You know what? Fuck these guys, man. It's just human nature. If it's 5.0, it's fake.
Just go against the grain. But I have a question about podcasts that before we start into other stuff. And I also bought a truck over the break.
God, you can't.
Was there?
Good for you.
I cannot stop.
Can't. I actually kind of want to buy a truck because I sort of live on a farm, but we'll get to that in a sec.
I know. My buddy goes, "What are you hauling?" I go, "Mostly hats and coats."
Well, it's just look, they did a thing, and this is not a thing I'm making up. They put a man standing next to just a regular sedan. They put the same man standing next to a pickup truck, and then they did a poll with women, and they're like 87% more attracted to the guy standing next to the pickup truck. Do the math.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
I go and bring a trailer sometimes to get trucks. I go all over. I go on Instagram. I DM these people, these sites. Once you get on, I'm into cars, so I get like old. It's always old.
Well, what was it?
It was trucks from the 70s. These old F-250s.
I had dinner with a guy last night whose favorite car is the Camino, or is it called the El Camino from the 60s? That's sort of like the first kind of a flatbed truck, but also kind of. So those are sedan those, and he collects them. There's has one 1965. Loves it.
You know who drives an El Camino?
You'll
never guess.
Juan Corona.
Marky in Busboys, my character.
Oh, see, you knew, and I knew, and I didn't know that ahead of time, folks. This is not rehearsed.
You didn't know that. That was a good.
I did not know that, but I kind of figured that you would be a Camino guy.
El Camino. I think John Stamos used to have an El Camino.
You should have. Is your character called Joe Dirt, but you never referred to it? That would have been funny.
It's funny that Joe Exotic brought up Joe Dirt, so I can see that. Busboys has some similarities that I am ready for already. It's really underdog stuff. You know what I mean? So there's themes in movies.
The greatest
Sandler does a lot of that.
It was back in the Caddyshack days and stuff. It was called Snobs versus Slobs. And it's the blue collar people versus the elite. And Adam does that in Happy Gilmore. He's got the nemesis is all Ivy League, and Sandler's like Adam lives in a garbage can and just hits the shit out.
In a garbage can.
Well, it's just the crazy clothes. And he steps up to it like he's a baseball player. I mean, it's incredibly charming. And Waterboy was another brilliant example of the guy who has nothing going on, but he can tackle harder than any human.
Yeah. It's good if you're extra tough too.
Yeah.
I don't know how tough I am in Busboys. But I will say, okay, so I was telling you about a truck. Bring a trailer. I will say it's getting more complicated to buy it. It used to be click, click, buy, bing, bing. They should make it a lot easier, honestly, because people would buy more quicker.
Well, who vets?
It's still good.
Are they vetted? I mean, do you go look at them and kick the tires, so to speak? And
the problem with the new world of buying stuff is it moves quickly. Started Barrett Jackson. I used to go to that in Arizona. And then it's once a year, and you walk around, you look at them. The days of actually driving to meet someone in the Safeway parking lot, and then you sit in the car and you drive it around. They're not over, but it's also a little more dangerous. But you really have to know what you're doing, because most of the cars bought now are, for me, are online auction or Bring a Trailer or Barrett. And you don't sit in them. And you don't drive them. And that's the two things you really need to do.
Yeah, I think that would be very important.
Bad bucking neck and you sit like this. So if you do that, you need to do it. So sometimes I go sit in one of that type, so I kind of know what I'm getting and drive it. And then if I get a really good version of that kind of car, then I'll have the right kind.
And are the sellers rated like a Uber driver, like trustworthy? You can look online to get that. Right.
Sometimes on Bring a Trailer, they have a comment section during the 7-day auction, and it's 90% like mechanics and car people. So they're just in there. Can you check the phalange on that and show me a close up? I think there might be something a little itchy about it. And then they really like troubleshoot it almost for you. But this is getting too boring. Other than that, I will say, well, I saw. Go ahead. You have follow up.
I just wanted to say that, trucks and this and that and motorcycles. But you see a guy with a truck, it's like, okay, cool, and then it don't got no muffler, and so it just starts it up, and it feels like the car is saying, I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man.
I'm a man,
I'm a man. 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 Then they put on Surfing USA. Surfing USA. I'm a man. A man.
Barbara Ran. I'm a man.
Yeah. If you can't start the car, it's like I'm impotent. I can't get it up. So that's not good. You wanted to.
Viagra.
What's your best
Viagra.
V8 starting up sound effect? Get on the mic.
I can do more of a jet ski.
Stop doing that.
There's water in it. Is that a bad one?
No, it's funny. That is if it triggered me.
Oh, motorcycle.
I've been doing a character called Sound Effecty. You know,
Yes.
walks across the grass. We've done this before.
Jesus, that's
opens
the grass.
opens the car door. Adjusts the rearview mirror.
That's
Starts it up. Windshield wipers with no rain.
Here, with no rain, it's like this. You turn them off, and then about 10 minutes later, you go, oh, fuck, are these still going?
That's the fucking intermittent, man. You're like, oh, this is good. Then it starts to pour. You go back to full tilt, and then you go down. It's a fucking brain twister. I don't need this shit.
Game. I can't win.
Here's the world's worst sound effect comedian.
Yeah.
Walk across the grass. Open the door. Adjust the rearview mirror. He's terrible. He has one effect.
That's not bad.
You're the king of that. Come on now, king. All right.
Okay, so one quick thing about podcasts. I got a new name for Gavin Newsom's.
Oh, because you know what Trump calls him.
What does he call him?
He calls it, and he says it in a throwaway. He doesn't even emphasize it. Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is coming up.
Oh, yeah, he calls him Newsom.
Gavin Newsom.
He's got a podcast where he...
yeah.
I don't know. But
what does he do?
I guess they take calls to see how much to raise our taxes. But this is the name. Ready? And I can't believe it was right there for him. Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom. Gavin.
I'll say here's a new nickname, almost like a rapper's
That's it.
name. I'm calling him the Human Pivot because he is he's come out against men playing in women's sports. It's a little shaky for a Democrat, and he's also had, I think, Charlie Kirk, which is a famous podcaster who's conservative, on his show. So I'm calling him the Human Pivot. He's pivoting to the center for 2028. 2028, you got to get right down that middle.
So he's going to run for president? Is that the idea?
Oh my God, they all want to be president. Every single politician at one point was probably president of the senior class, and then they want to be
a power position. Jesus!
But once you go in the Oval Office with the president, you go, "Really? This numbskull is this knucklehead is the president? No matter who it is." You meet Biden. I'm going to meet the president of the United States. Mommy, he's not like I thought he'd be.
All right, let's get to the big stories of the day.
Okay.
Keep doing Biden. We'll get to the big stories.
I'm being serious. Okay, big stories. Here we go.
Wait. Oh, Starbucks ordered to pay. This drives me crazy. I saw this story. $50 million to a guy burned by hot tea. Now, if it burns your wiener, I'm all in. But it always feels excessive because let's say at the drive-through window, the girl gives it to him and it spills. If it is not your wiener, I have a very, very strong stance.
Mm-hmm.
If it's your legs, third-degree burns. How many people would take third-degree burns on their legs or $1 million? I bet almost everyone would take. No, not everyone.
Yeah,
but a lot of people take $1 million.
Right.
But 50.
That what I would say it was right. The face is melted, and then it matriculates to, as you call it, the wiener.
Peeling skin off, screaming, and maybe crash your car.
And do they really get 50 million? Isn't it kind of like a thing? And then
look at the bottom.
Well,
they ordered to pay 50 million. I don't know. I mean,
it seems like
ordered to pay $50 million in a burn injury case out of LA County. The jury delivered that verdict against
She's
Starbucks
very
for
serious.
an
She looks like Julie
incident that
Bowen.
happened in February
Okay,
of
here we are.
2020. Video shows an employee handing an array of hot drinks, including hot tea, at the drive-thru, but a cup was unsecured and it then fell into the lap of the plaintiff, Michael Garcia. He suffered third-degree burns to his genitals. The jury found Starbucks liable for his injuries. Starbucks issued a statement disagreeing with the jury's decision.
Genitals,
and says
the
it
grossest
plans to
word.
appeal.
Well, were they curable? I mean, grafting. Let's get deep into this. Could they have made everything all good again down there?
People will still do it. Take away my genitals. I'm not using them anymore. Take away and give me $3 million. How much for your genitals?
I know. Then you go, what would blow for your genitals? It's hard not to sound drunk saying the word genitals. Your Honor, I just want to say to the court that is genitals. Have you been drinking, sir? You sound like you're drunk.
It is a sexy word. I like when girls go, let's see them genitals. And I go,
You have instead of fantastic, you have a testicular imagination.
It's testicular.
It's a testicular.
Let's see. Another thing I have, Dana, I have a lot to say about this. The poor girl I just saw, I thought the guy wasn't close enough to the window. I'm going to play it again like this is a Zapruder film.
So he had to do a big...
Because he also made a stipulation that from now on, they offered him $30 million. And he said no. He said, I'll take 30 as a settlement if they make every employee screw on the cup or make a new way to do it for the tops to make them secure.
Right.
And they said no. And so they risked it, but they had to pay 50. But watch this. This poor girl trying to bust her hump, make her living.
Yeah, he's
working hard. Look how far that car is.
Burns to his genitals.
Or am I crazy?
Starbucks liable for his
It
injuries.
looked from our
Starbucks
angle a
issued
bit
statement.
far.
Like, look how far she's full plank,
Third-degree burns
sticking
to
her
his
arm out.
genitals. The jury, Michael Garcia, he suffered.
The thing they don't tell you is that
Genitals?
something like this happens
Genitals?
47 times a day at Starbucks worldwide. So they're paying $50 million a day, and that's why the stock market is being cruel to them. Here's my thing that I always ask. What would blow the jury away? Did they get in there and some guy goes, fuck Starbucks. I say we give them 80 million. And they're like, are you nuts? 80? I say we give 60. That's insane. Finally, they get to the guy going, how about 50? That's more like it. That's a nice.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. That's reasonable.
Yeah, his head's screwed on. This is 50 feels good. I know Starbucks is rich. Okay. But that poor girl's going to get fired. Those jobs are tough too, by the way. Just like lining them up. Anyway, we're on this story too long.
He had third degree.
Heather's stretching, and I know when she stretches, that means next story.
When she starts doing
Heather's like
yoga. Yeah. Okay. That was 20 minutes on that one.
Oh, yoga. Look at this transition.
Oh, wow. Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson Beach Day. Okay. So Bill Belichick, the famous coach, and
That's him?
His girlfriend, he's 73, she's 23, just have to say it. They're on their backs, both of them? No, I don't understand. Where's
in
Bill?
the second picture, he's on his back. It looks like his legs go straight all the way to the knee. It looks like a grasshopper.
He's on his back and she's sitting on his feet. Yeah.
That better not be in her genitals.
I don't know what to make of this.
No, that's on her hip bones, but it looks a little too much like, hey, Dad, put me up here. You know, what I think is I'm all for them having a slight age gap.
I don't care about it.
She's 3, he's 500. Now, that's fine. But I will say to me, he was the once absolutely no attention coach out of just regular coaches. Every press conference, moving on to Cleveland, next week,
Yeah.
And she's an influencer. So we see who won in this combo.
He was called the Grumpy Lobster Man because he wore this cutoff sweatshirt when he was a coach.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
A man of few words. And now he's got this high-flying, sexually charged influencer.
Oh, sexually charged.
She weighs probably 115 pounds, so he can at least squat that. It's a reverse squat. I find this curious. am I disturbed?
The strongest Dana will say is curious.
I'm saying I don't know what to make of him. If she's of age to consent, I don't know.
Listen, she weighs 115. Even with my Carrie Underwood legs, I could toss her across that beach in 2 seconds. I'm strong. My legs are strong.
And in the comments, they say she calls him daddy. So,
daddy, minimum. Daddy.
No granddaddy, no grandpa, no. No.
Heather, I'm coming back and I'm putting my hat back on.
God bless them all. All right.
My hair is not great today, Dan, and we're not going to over talk about it.
I got up at 5 a.m. to work on this, so it looks like I'm not fine. Okay.
This shit show. I like this show today. It's fun.
I don't want to be identified as being in this time and place with you. Scarlett Johansson on why she refuses to take photos with fans in public.
Now, this is a great subject because, first of all, we'll start with we all love Scarlett Johansson.
She is amazing.
Super sweet. Known her off and on over the years.
Very
always
cool.
Friendly.
Yeah. I talked to her a lot when I was in New York.
Yeah, at the 50th, we did she was in a sketch. It wasn't like we were in it together.
She actually came up to me at one of the parties and she just had her hair up and was dressed different. And she's smaller than you'd think because she plays, superstar heroes. And she's talking to me for 10 minutes. And then I finally went, oh, you're Scarlett Johansson. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought she was.
But that shows she's quite unassuming for being stunner. But she did Suddenly E-Bike, Heather, remember? Suddenly E-Bike. That was on the 50th. Mm-hmm. But the interesting big question is, what do you do with fans that want pictures? And she really, I think it's ballsy that she comes out and says she doesn't take pictures in public. Well, she'll take them, I think, on a red carpet or at an event when it's work about the movie. But she's trying to have a regular life, and this rubs people wrong, and some people it rubs right, and some people it rubs their genitals. But
there's a whole lot of rubbing going on.
Yeah, okay, here's what else she says. I like to be in my own thoughts that have nothing to do with what other people think of me. I don't like being self-conscious. It is true, Dana, you know this. Whenever you take a picture, you go, I don't even want to say it's bad lighting. I don't even want to say I look like shit today because they always go, no, you don't. You look great. It's who cares? It's just give me that motherfucking picture. I don't care anything. I'm like, I've got blood on my face. I've got an actual live bloody nose. Just take it. It's fine. Right. You look great. So I was with a famous person who wouldn't take pictures.
We were hanging out.
No, you're very nice.
Well,
you were nice.
I'm too nice. I mean, Scarlett Johansson is different. She's a movie star. She's in Marvel movies. She's globally famous.
Yes.
And here's what I want to add to this, which I really discourage, is that now sometimes people will then just start taking video of you. You're walking down the street without permission, and they'll make a TikTok out of it. Scarlett Johansson looks sad or whatever. So
looks sad. Why is she so bummed today? Most people are looking at paparazzi and make that face because they just realize the fun's over. There's someone following them and filming them. So they go, ooh, they weren't in a good mood today. It's like, well, yeah, they just saw you. So why are they chipper?
And the problem is that someone like that, or really big famous people, obviously Brad Pitt or whatever, they start doing that. They draw a crowd and then they may be there for an hour. It's literally logistically impossible. The thing that I would do, and maybe people do it and we don't know, but you can get a prosthetic nose, which changes a face so radically that just sort of almost just goes right on like that and walk around invisible. And I bet people do that.
Sure.
And they run.
And you don't know it.
And then you don't know it. They walk amongst us. So.
Heather, the place where I get my prosthetic wieners, will you see if they have noses? Thanks. On it. Dana, also, she's very pretty, and she's always getting attention for being pretty anyway, like Zendaya. You add in famous, and it's too much.
I do think
chaos.
that men on the horny, inappropriate side, the predatory side, obviously it's bigger than women being predatory the other way, although it happens. I mean, I often thought that why do women chase pop stars? Like the Beatles used to get 300 women chasing them, but if they'd stopped and turned around, the women would have stopped. But so women have a different kind of lane for what we call creeps.
Sure.
and she's
exponentially worse.
Especially you're playing. She plays leading actress, the very attractive femme fatale in the movie, and this can get people crazy. So I have a lot of empathy. They just want to be artists. They did not plan on what was going to happen, and just try to respect them. When I was a kid, when I first saw a famous person, I didn't go up to him. I could just tell. I saw Michael Landon from Bonanza in a restaurant, and I got, no, I'm not going to go over. You can just sort of tell they would rather be left alone.
My first instinct was, you owe me. You owe me.
I know.
And then I go and rub their genitals. When we were in Fantasy Springs, Dana, you were remember we went to dinner, we get a lot of, that was our own fault. We ate it. When you work at the same place where you're doing a show, it draws attention.
I never do that.
We ate there.
I have to say, I don't really have a face, and I've told people this before. It's very benign. If I'm like this and I change my lower jaw to Mickey Rourke, no one sees me, so I can walk around. But with David, with the trucker hat, what's up, everybody? It's like walking around Disneyland with a guy dressed as Mickey Mouse. I mean, everyone. You are famous, but you're very nice to your fans. You're casual.
We were nice in the airport. We're nice to everybody.
Yeah.
But I was saying, we were taking so many pictures. The funniest thing is at dinner, I never do this. I don't want to bring any attention to you, but can I climb on your shoulders? Just for 1 second.
It is funny when you're in mid-bite. Excuse me, I hate to do like this. I'm like, oh.
And they're like, and then one lady was just standing there because people kept coming up. One stood back. So I said, I was eating, and I go, are you bringing us backstage? I go, we're almost done. We're going to pay up. And she's like, okay. And then when I went over to her, she goes, can I get a picture? I go, don't you work here? And she goes, eh.
Well,
like, why are you standing?
I had a big bowl of spaghetti and meatballs with extra sauce, and I hate to do this, so I just dove my face into the spaghetti and meatballs, and I turned, and it was just dripping off my face. She goes, you're not Dana Garfo. So
yeah, you're Carrie from the movie.
Look up Master Disguise, and one of the first scenes where my character Pistachio spills spaghetti and meatballs on the people all over their faces, and they're frozen like cartoon characters.
We never show clips.
If we could show a clip, that'd be awesome.
No, we can't. I couldn't.
My own movie.
Today. All right, one more.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. We're doing good.
It's amazing.
Okay. Play this.
Everyone on Earth peed into the Grand Canyon. You might think it would fill up in less than...
If.
Grand Canyon can hold about 1.2 quadrillion gallons, and the average person pees about half a gallon a day. So if all 8 billion people peed at the same time, they'd only add about 4 billion gallons of pee. At that rate,
everyone
it would take over
peed,
800,000 years.
Everyone on Earth is peeing in the Grand Canyon for 800,000 years to fill it up.
I would have bet the under. Wow.
That is one big canyon. I'll tell you that.
I like how it just starts as peeing in the Grand Canyon. And I'm like, what's this story? I guess it's if everyone peed.
This is what, Elon Musk is trying to stop. It was $2 billion to these scientists to figure out if everyone on Earth peed. It took them 7 years to get the number, 800,000 years.
Just to be on one TikTok where
you had a study where you said it would take the entire Earth 800,000 years to fill up the Grand Canyon. You got paid to figure that out. Your words, not mine.
And you're mad we're cutting that out of the budget?
What else are you working on? What's the next one? If everyone pooed in the Mississippi River, it would take 2 million years to fill it up with poo and feces. Now, can we have $1 billion for our study?
Yeah. And let me get my puke bucket.
If everybody puked into the Grand Canyon, we don't know the answer, but could we get $500,000?
Your words, not mine.
Your words, not mine. Your pee, not theirs.
Your study. Mm-hmm. Is that where all the money is going? That Doge is trying to get?
I don't know. I'm Doja myself,
I guess we end on that little fizzler, but
I think so. That was a fizzy fizzle, but Joe Dirt 2, 3.
Joe Exotic. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, we had Joe Exotic on. If you just click toward the end, so you can hear more ads.
Yeah, if you want the ads.
Hey man, it's called a post roll. I don't think we have a post roll. We just say goodnight, Cleveland. But so he fanned out on David. This should be in the introduction, but that was kind of fun. He really is a fan of yours.
I did like hearing about that during one of the few
fun
things.
It was a 15-minute interview. We couldn't see him from some federal penitentiary.
We tried to get video for people asking. We tried to get video, and they said no. So,
and we heard someone behind him go, "Can I get the phone? I just want to call my mother."
I wanted to ask him, is he always nervous of getting beat up or something? I would be worried, like someone's out to get you, you know?
Oh, definitely. We have to create alliances. You have to get the
biggest. Does he have a boyfriend? We didn't ask any of this stuff.
I know. Well, yeah.
We're the worst.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, always next time.
There's always next time.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks, Dana.
See you next time. And thanks for listening and watching.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Superfly is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss-Berman of Odyssey, Heather Santoro, and Greg Holtzman. Hope you liked it.